Hello and welcome to the show. I'm back on Forza 7 today, building another Rallycross car. Now the vehicle I'm going to be using is not the Jaguar that you see on the screen at the moment. We're going to be doing a lucky dip for a car. I have no idea what the game might give us in all of this. What I'm going to do, go to the prize crates, we're going to buy the car crate. This will give us a guaranteed car. As long as the car is something that will get, well, as long as the car is something that won't exceed S-Class when all-wheel drive is added, that is going to be the vehicle that we will use. I'm hoping the game is kind to me. It's not normally when we do these sort of challenges. We have got... Ooh... It has been kind. A Lancia 037. Not a bad selection of car, if you like. Yes, I have to make it all-wheel drive, and that might be a little sacrilege for the 037. However, that is the rules of this series, so I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. I've got many different Lancias, in fact, on here. 037, not one that I already had, so it's a happy coincidence all round. And it's going to be back to the old school battle, 037 versus Quattro. Right, upgrade shop time. Now, we have got to make the car all-wheel drive. It starts off as a mid-B class car, so decent amount of PI for us to be playing around with. We will keep the standard engine if at all possible. If we can't, our options are the 3.7 V6 or the Turbo Rally. I was half expecting the 4.5 litre V8 as well in here, but apparently not. It would be the V6 out of those two if we happen to have to change it. I'm not sure. We might get away with the car's standard engine. Oh, we have many options. Sadly, I say sadly, we can't have any of the interesting options because we need downforce. We are going to be wanting as much grip as possible in our car. Oh, we can't have the tyre on the roof and the aero improving bits. That's disappointing. Yeah, we want downforce. While, okay, for Rallycross, that's perhaps not the most important thing usually. The circuit that we are driving on is still quite largely tarmac, so we have got to bear that in mind. Somehow this raises the PI, but also adds weight. You take away stuff and that adds weight. Not sure. Have we got the magical aero improving mud flaps? Yes, we do. We do. We have the magical aero improving mud flaps at the front that add weight, and I don't know. Not sure about those. Can we get... Oh, I just want some rally lights on my Lancia. That's a pain. Oh, I guess we'll go for that configuration. Just wanted some rally lights on the 037. We're not going to get them, though. We're not going to get them, and I'm not really wanting to add any more weight. We'll come back and see what we have at the end of the build, if you like. Now, I will put the car on race tyres, and I probably will for just about every vehicle that can have race tyres and stay in S-Class. Because while there may be possible that the sport tyres and so on are better on the dirt is only 2 corners. The rest of the track is very much tarmac. So I think it is advantageous to still focus on the tarmac aspect. Big tyres at the back of the 037. In fact, people who have played Forza regularly will know how absurdly fast these cars can be when it comes to, especially sort of around A-Class. You perhaps wouldn't build it in the way, of course, not the way that I'm building this, but yeah, these things are monsters. These things are absolute monsters when it comes to class racing. We will get it down to £2,600. Of course, it is heavier than it was to begin with. Sticking on that four-wheel drive system isn't the most helpful thing you can do to the car. Now, we can give the Lancia a turbo instead of the supercharger that it comes with. Now, the turbo will give us more power. In fact, this isn't going to be a massively, horrendously powerful car. The turbo will give us more power overall, so I think we will. We will go for full sacrilege Lancia. Or, to be fair, I would be happy to put the supercharger and the turbo together and do proper Lancia engineering, but the game's not going to let me do that. I wish Forza would add twin charging, but there's a lot of other things that I think Forza could do with before we started, you know, going with twin charging. Let's see if we can get it to the top of S-Class or with its standard engine. We do still have like gearbox and driveline and that sort of thing to come. 408 horsepower. Yeah, we'll get to top of S class. It won't be too much of a problem with this vehicle. I mean, it won't get much higher than S, but it doesn't need to. doesn't matter. 452 horsepower isn't going to be the most powerful car that we have seen. It's not going to be the most powerful car we've seen by a long way because we had the Durango. But 496 horsepower in a car at 2,600 pounds is not too shabby. Right, let's go and grab the diff. Now, the gearbox isn't as terrible importance as it has been in some cars. Of course, when you do the drivetrain swap, things like gearbox do get automatically upgraded. Things like driveline get automatically upgraded as well. We're now just under the £2,600 mark. We're not going to get the clutch in. I will just have a look if we can sneak a flywheel in, just in car. We already got a flywheel in. I forgot. Like, the base car of this, I guess, comes... Well, when I got it out of the crate, it comes with the homologation parts installed, and that was a couple of tiers of a flywheel. That's okay. I'm fine. I'm fine with that as a build. So, just under £2,600, just under 500 horsepower. It's the age-old battle of Lancia versus Audi. So, we are off to the Virginia International Raceway South layout, where our Lancia is going to have 5 laps to try and beat a 1:15.8. That is the time set by the Quattro that's leading the series. A 16.5, the time set by the Dodge Omni that sits in second place. I think the Lancia does stand a pretty good chance. It is the sort of car, after all, that is going to be happier with tackle. It was as happy as anything on Forza is going to be when it comes to tackling our fictional alterations, whatever you want to call it, to this circuit. I would hope that with a decent amount of power, not too much weight, some decent sized tyres, should be pretty quick through these corners and quick out the other side. We might lack the ultimate top speed that we have seen from some cars. Ooh, bit of understeer on the way through turn 1. I think a little bit too eager from me to get on the power out the other side. Oh, it's nice to be able to brake even later than normal down into that corner. Right, on to the dirt we go. It doesn't look like much, but the actual exit of that first dirt section, when you head back on towards the tarmac, trying to get through the tyre bundles down there is not the easiest thing in existence. The Lancia, though, does get changed direction quite nicely through all of that dirt section. Are we going to be flat through this next left-hander? Now, we have seen cars like the Quattro. Oh, the Quattro was flat. I'm not sure the 037 is going to be. The front was lifting up through there. That's a slightly terrifying prospect. Ooh, too fast into the final corner. There's a fair bit of, let's say, moving around going on from the car. Not as bad as it could be, of course, but there's going to be something to watch out for. Watch out for the car rolling around on the suspension a little bit. Only 153 down the straight, slower than the Dodge Omni, slower than the Durango. Not too surprised by that. I mean, it's 100 horsepower down pretty much on the Omni, and a lot more than that down on the Durango, even if it is lighter. Ooh, I was a little bit late on the brakes. Nope, got it sucked onto the grass. I'll eventually get used to that. When you dive off the circuit there, when you hit the grass on the outside, the car has a tendency to slide across. It has a tendency to kind of slide across to the right, which is straight into the tyre bundle. That's what of the 4 cars that have gone, I think 2 of them have done exactly the same thing, and the other 2 I've outbraked myself and had to go the long way around that particular chicane. So it's a easy mistake to make at that section. The transition from tarmac onto grass is not something that Forza kind of expects you to be deliberately aiming for, and so on. And me as a driver, I'm so used to normal circuit racing that mispositioning the car there will be very costly indeed. So, again, towards turn 1. Braking-wise, we are using, I say, the secondary braking point. You either kind of with the cars that have gone so far in this series, either you brake after the cones or you brake at the start of the cones, down into that horrible, horrible turn 1. And this is using the after the cones, the same line that, or same point I should say, that the Audi was using. All the other cars had been braking before the cones. The Shelby had quite poor brakes and the others were big and heavy. The Durango and the Kia were not light cars whatsoever. Now, this lap here so far is going a little bit better. We're a smidge wide on the way into the hairpin. However, we are neat enough on the way out. Find some grip on that tarmac. Dare we be flat? I'm not sure. The front wiggling around in the air does not fill me with confidence. I'm pretty confident to say that that won't be flat through there. The Audi was. I think this might have the grip to do it if the front didn't lift up quite so much. Possibly, though. If the front didn't lift up so much, it would still be quite terrifying. Although we've put it all together and it doesn't matter so much. 15.2 from the Lancia will put it to the top of the table. It is 0.6 of a second clear of the Audi Quattro. Well, that's a big gain, actually. We've seen a lot of kind of similarities between the times of the cars so far, all in the mid to high 16s. 15.2 all of a sudden from this. That's a good lap time. I mean, it's not horrendously far down the road. It's not horrendously down farther. Still got a couple of laps to go, though, to try and improve upon that. Can we get a better line out of the hairpin there? That's not bad. What will be in terms of split? No. Okay, it felt okay. It was not okay in terms of the lap. That's half a second lost. And I was slow through the left-hander. Where are we going to find the lap time over that all previous run? If we do that again, we won't be finding any lap time. That's all gone a little bit wrong. Don't think it would have affected our run onto the final lap too much. Yeah, that was a shonky lap, a 16.9 from the Lancia. Don't think we can really do much into turn 1. We're pretty much at the limit of the braking capabilities of the car here. So that's all right. Just got to make sure we don't run wide on the exit. Neat, tidy, then jump on the power. Plenty of acceleration for the 037 down this straight. Very similar first sectors. Now up over the crest we go. Aim to get a slow run into here, but then get a hopefully better run on the exit. Avoid the tyre bundles. Rejoin the circuit as best as we can. Now into the hairpin. Oh, we're a little bit wide. A little bit wide on the way in, although, can we bring this one back towards us? It's a bit of lost time sideways, although the lost time sideways might have been able to get some more back on the exit. Yeah, we've lost a tiny fraction, but it was a good exit out of all of that section. I think, oh god, the front wheel was in the air. I didn't really have much control of my car going through that left-hander. Thankfully, I kind of just fired it at the corner, and we were pointed in the right direction. Around the final turn we go. I'm not sure. I felt like that final sector wasn't the most perfect it could have been. Indeed, it wasn't. 15.9 in the end. Yeah, the final corner, I was a little bit messy on the final corner. I didn't think I'd lost almost 0.7 of a second in all of that, but couldn't match that 15.2 in terms of lap speed. Well, that age-old rivalry of 037 versus Quattro, it goes the way of the Lancia in this series. We do have a new leader. I'm not surprised so much with the 037 being that fast around here. At the end of the day, it was designed for rallying. This is home territory for a car like this. 0.6 of a second quicker than the Quattro, though, is a very good feat. So there we go. The game was surprisingly apt in its lucky dip selection of cars. That, though, is going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.